Just tell me. Oh, please, second, please. I'll do anything.
5 seasons of television came down to that. It's over. 40 episodes, 5 seasons, 7 years. The Boys has ended. And the finale, Blood and Bone, was not too bad. Not bad at all, actually. Which makes what came before a little bit more frustrating. But we will get there. So first I'm going to talk about what happened in the finale. The episode opens on Frenchie's funeral. He died in episode 7, sacrificing himself to radiation exposure inside a uranium chamber designed to recreate Soldier Boy's power-stripping ability, giving Kimiko enough time to absorb it. His gift to her, the ability to permanently strip Compound V from any soup. The problem in the finale, she cannot activate it. She is shut down emotionally after losing him. And for Sister Sage, recognising that the power needs intense emotion, deliberately antagonises Kimiko, badmouths Frenchie, trashes his legacy. Kimiko snaps, the blast fires, and Sage, who is hit directly, is permanently stripped of her hyper-intelligence. She discovers, apparently, that is a relief. She goes to Harry Potter World. The boys infiltrate the White House using plans from the season 4 finale. The moment that lands, Ashley Barrett, now president by accident after Homelander murders President Calhoun. She finally follows her conscience and opens the locked door. Unexpected. Earned. The Oval Office. Homelander is mid-Easter broadcast, declaring himself a prophet. Butcher and Kimiko crash in. Ryan flies in to help. They hold Homelander down. Kimiko, summoning a vision of Frenchie, fires the blast. All three, Homelander, Butcher, Ryan, are stripped of their powers permanently. Homelander is mortal for the first time in his life. He begs. The man who declared himself God is on his knees in the Home Office, telling Butcher he will do anything not to die. It was broadcast live. Butcher puts a crowbar through his skull. Homelander dies on television, humiliated, powerless, screaming. That moment works. As cathartic television, it absolutely delivers. Anthony Starr begging for his life is one of the finest pieces of acting the show has produced. The humiliation of God on live TV, exactly the right ending for a character whose entire psychology was powered by the need to be worshipped. Full credit where it's due. So next I'm going to talk about Butcher's end, the real heart of the finale. The first half of the finale is Homelander, the second half is Butcher, and this is where the show does its most honest work. Ryan is present while Butcher beats his depowered father, begging, bleeding to death. And after Homelander's death, Ryan says the thing the show has been building towards since season 2. Quotes, Homelander being a monster does not make you a hero. He does not go with Butcher. He does not repeat the cycle. He goes with Mother's Milk, and Mother's Milk adopts him. The question the show was always asking, what does a child become when a monster raises him? Gets its answer. Something else. If someone good enough is standing there when it counts. And then Terra, Butcher's dog, the last connection to Becca, the last thing that was just his, found dead in his bed. Old age, peaceful, Butcher finds him alone. And something breaks that was the last thing holding him together. He takes the soup-killing virus to Vought Tower, loads it into the sprinkler system, his plan to kill every soup on Earth. Because if Homelander could happen once, he will happen again. The only answer is to end the whole bloody notion. Huey follows him. They have their last confrontation in the Seven's office. Butcher is about to pull the trigger. He hesitates. He looks down at Huey and sees his dead brother Lenny. But Huey is already fired. Butcher takes a bullet in the chest. He dies holding Huey's hands. His final words, quote, "It's all right, Huey. I gave you no choice. I wasn't going to stop." And then goes on to say, "You stayed yourself, no matter what I done." That is Butcher. Not triumphant, not redeemed. A man who spent his whole life fighting what he was becoming and finally became it, and was stopped by the boy he helped shape. Carl Urban plays it without a word of self-pity. It is the best work he has done in the show. So next I'm going to talk about where everybody else lands. So first, Homelander. How did they end? Depowered by Kimiko's blast, killed by Butcher with a crowbar in the Oval Office, broadcast live on national television, begged for his life, offered sexual favours. The most powerful man on Earth died screaming and humiliated. For Butcher, shot by Huey at Vought Tower whilst attempting to release the soup-killing virus, dies in Huey's arms, forgives him. His gravestone reads, quotes, "Oi, fuck off, you cunts." Very on brand. And next, Ryan rejects Butcher, goes with Mother's Milk who adopts him. The cycle does not repeat. The question the show was always asking gets answered correctly. And for Kimiko, depowers Homelander, powers stripped along with Butcher and Ryan. The epilogue: moves to France, gets a burn doodle dog. The last image of her is the French restaurant she always imagined with Frenchie. He is not there. She is at peace. And for Huey, shoots Butcher, survives. Annie is pregnant, baby girl named Robin, after his former girlfriend, whose death started everything in episode 1. They opened an electronics shop. The show ends with Huey hearing Piano Man and smiling. It started with him, it ends with him. And Mother's Milk adopts Ryan, reunites with his long-term partner and daughter, steps away from the violence. The Deep, Starlight blasts him into the ocean, an octopus impales him. The marine life scream quotes, "Justice for Ambrosius," which is revenge for him killing his octopus companion in season 4. It's silly, it's poetic, completely fitting. And then Sister Sage deliberately lets Kimiko blast her, stripping her hyper-intelligence permanently. Apparently finds this blissful. Goes to Harry Potter world, not making that up. And next, Ashley Barrett becomes president by succession when Homelander kills President Calhoun, opens the door for the boys. After Homelander's defeat, Congress removes her from office and arrests her. She was president for approximately 1 afternoon. And next, Soldier Boy, not in the finale. Homelander put him back on ice in episode 7. He remains frozen, deliberately left unresolved. Confirmed as setup for Vault Rising, the 1950s prequel during 2027. And next, Queen Maeve, not in season 5 at all, not even a cameo. The showrunners deliberately protected her happy ending from season 3, only mentioned in passing dialogue. So next I'm going to talk about the season verdict, the red herrings. The finale knew what it was doing and it did it. The season that led to it did not always have the same clarity. So let us name the red herrings because the season was full of them. And understanding them is understanding why 6 of the 8 episodes felt like filler for a destination the show had mapped from the start. So the first red herring, Soldier Boy's power stripping ability. What it pretended to be? The key. The only way to make Homelander killable. His whole arc pointed towards using it on Homelander. But what it actually was? Eventually recreated in Kimiko through Frenchie's experiments with enriched uranium, modelled on the Fort Harmony Vault. Soldier Boy himself never used it on Homelander. Jensen Ackles was exceptional, but the writing never gave him the job the show spent 6 episodes implying he had. Next I'm going to talk about the V1 serum, Homelander's injection, and what it pretended to be. The escalation that made Homelander unstoppable, the season's big turn in episode 6. But what it actually was, made completely irrelevant the moment Kimiko's blast could strip all Compound V regardless of enhancement. If Kimiko was always the answer, V1 was never a real change to the calculus. Next, Sister Sage, what it pretended to be, the smartest person in the world, a plan to outlast everyone. But what it actually was, mostly a plot device. Her most useful function, provoking Kimiko to test the blast in episode 8. Ended up depowered and went to Harry Potter world, not the season's spine. And next, the super-killing virus, what it pretended to be, the MacGuffin. The season-long objective, the boy's only weapon. But what it actually was, it never killed Homelander. The virus was only relevant in the finale because Butcher tried to use it on everybody else after the main fight was already won. So the honest question the season never satisfyingly answered. If Kimiko was always going to strip Homelander's powers, and Frenchie was always going to give her that ability, and that ability derived from Soldier Boy's research, what was Soldier Boy's own arc actually for? Not as a plot logic question, as a craft question. A character that compellingly deserved to be the solution himself. His powers to save everybody despite himself, despite his character. That would have been the arc. Instead, he was the source material for someone else's solution and then put back on ice as bait for a spin-off. So next I'm going to talk about what the comics actually say. Let us be precise about what was and what was not comic book accurate, because this is frequently misreported. So who kills Homelander? So in the comic book by Garth Ennis, Black Noir, who is secretly a more powerful Homelander clone. Noir beats and rips him apart in the Oval Office. But in the TV show it was Billy Butcher after Kimiko depowers him. The TV show never used the clone storyline. And the verdict, the TV original does it better. So next I'm going to talk about the crowbar. In the comic, Butcher uses the crowbar on Black Noir. After a badly wounded Noir stumbles out of his fight with Homelander, Butcher pops Noir's head open. The show transferred the crowbar kill directly to Butcher versus Homelander. Same weapon, different target, stronger emotional payoff given the 5-season personal history. And the verdict? TV adaptation works better. So next I'm going to talk about Butcher killed by Huey. And in the comic book, yes, Butcher attempts to unleash a bioweapon to kill all Supes. Huey kills him to stop it. Butcher orchestrates this deliberately, knowing Huey is the only one who should end him. And in a TV show, same psychological framework. Butcher sees Lenny in Huey, hesitates. Huey shoots before realising Butcher might stop. Butcher forgives him and dies saying, quotes, "You stayed yourself." And the verdict? The spirit was accurate. So next I'm going to talk about Ryan's choice as an element. And in the comic book, the comics handled this differently. In the TV show, Ryan rejects both Homelander and Butcher and goes with Mother's Milk, who adopts him. The moral question answered correctly for what the TV show built. The verdict? The TV version was the right call. So next I'm going to talk about the overall verdict. Episodes 1 to 3, solid opening, momentum established, stakes clear, A-Train arc begins. Watch it? Yes. Episode 4 called King of Hell. The verdict? A-Train dies, the emotional centerpiece of the season. Verdict? Worth a watch? Yes, for that scene. Episode 5 called One Shots. Firecracker arc lands properly. The structural risk partially pays off. Worth a watch? Optional. Episode 6 called Though the Heavens Fall. This delivered consequential events, but the narrative logic fractures. Soldier Boy gives Homelander the V1, a pivot that makes no character sense. The Deep, of all people, kills Black Noir II. Worth a watch? Optional. Episode 7 with the Frenchman, the woman, and Mother's Milk. Frenchy finally gets his episode, then dies in it. The season's pattern in miniature. Give them the moment, then remove them. Worth the watch? Yes, to see the end of Frenchy. And episode 8, Blood and Bone, the finale, Homelander dies right. Butcher ends honestly. Ryan answers the question. Piano Man over Kimiko in France. Worth the watch? Yeah, definite yes for me. So the season verdict, the boys knew how it wanted to end. The finale delivered. The 6 episodes between episodes 3 and 8, with the exceptions of A-Train's death and French's send-off, largely did not earn it. Watch episodes 1 to 3, 7 and 8, skip the middle, and if you want to watch Firecracker, add episode 5. If you want to understand the full arc of Soldier Boy's failure to deliver, add episode 6. But if you just want the story that actually mattered, 5 episodes. That is The Boys Season 5. So in conclusion, the show ends with Piano Man, Kimiko in France with a Bernedoodle dog, at the table she always imagined with Frenchie. Huey and Annie's electronics shop, Baby Robin on the way, Mother's Milk and Ryan building something quieter, Butcher in the ground, his gravestone quotes, "Oi, fuck off, you cunts." It is entirely appropriate. The Boys was always the best when it used superhero clothes to tell small human stories. It started with a boy holding the hands of a girl who got pulverized by a man traveling at speed. It ends with that boy, older, about to have a daughter named after her. That is a complete arc. The show earned that. The middle 6 episodes of the final season, it did not earn those. But the destination was right. Please like and subscribe. And if Thought Rising somehow makes me eat these words, I will be the first to admit it. But I'm not holding my breath. Please like and subscribe, and thank you.